Hey guys, good morning. Today I will be talking about the fish house, the whys, the whats, the reason, everything that was going through my mind when I put this thing together. I had a subscriber request that I give a little walkthrough and overview of this thing, how it was set up and everything like that. So that's what I'm going to do. But first, let me tell you the reason that I wanted this thing. Not to get all prepper on you or anything like that, but these are changing times. And of course, along with food, water, and everything else, the world is changing. Some of it, you might say, has a good reason. Other things is just plain greed. But whatever the case, I wanted to not start a business where I'm going to make millions and millions. I just wanted it to have a place where I can have good quality food. I know what's in it, and I can come out here and have access to it 24 hours a day. So originally I wanted a fish pond, but the ground is very porous. You can drop 1,000,000 gallons of water and within the hour it's all soaked up and gone. And if the sun is out, the ground is dry. I mean, it's very, very, very quick. So I just thought that it would be extremely hard to get this pond going. So I opted to do the fish tank. And that's what I did. I looked at what we had here, and as you know, we have the chicken coop. So I laid out the chicken coop and I laid out the fish tanks, and I came up with 8 tanks, 4 on each side, and I thought that would be a good thing. Now, here in Thailand it's very hot, so I decided, well, I'll go about 2 meters down, about 6 feet, and that will keep the water somewhat cool because the pumps will keep the water moving and the air will be bubbling through there, and that should work out pretty good. So I did a little bit of research and came up with the idea of putting some shrimp on the bottom portion and the fish on the upper portion. And of course it looks good on paper, but it doesn't work out in real life because the fish that I have here is tilapia. But let me tell you, they will eat meat. So I never did the shrimp bit. I just went with the tilapia. Now, because it is so hot, and if the tilapia are exposed to too much sun, they tend to lose their color and turn kind of a light gray, white looking fish. So I decided that I would put a roof on this thing, and that's what I did. So by having this roof on here, not only does it protect them from the sun, but it also protects them from the rain. It keeps the tanks from overflowing, and yeah, so things were coming together. However, ran into a whole bunch of problems, and the biggest was that the people here don't use fish tanks. They have some little decorative type fish tanks where they put some koi fish or something, but they're only a foot, 4.5 deep, and you know, they don't have a lot of pressure from the weight of the water and makes them leak, so they have no problem. But because these things are holding a lot of water, probably about, I don't know, about 8,000 gallons per tank. That's a lot of weight. So that became a problem because people can take cement blocks and put them up, or they can take some forms and pour concrete walls and what have you, and everybody claims to be an expert. So I went ahead and got this guy that had done a lot of work for me, and he says, yeah, build them, it's no problem, I can waterproof them, blah, blah, blah. No. Originally, none of them would hold water, and then there was one, and then there was two, and finally got it to the point where I got 4 to hold water. And that was after spending a lot of money on all kinds of different paints and all kinds of stuff. You mix this powder and you paint it and you roll it and you put 2-3 coats of it. You name it. It just wasn't working. Now, the first stuff that we used was supposed to be the best. It was pretty expensive, but we put it on there and it held for a little bit, but once it was underwater for a while, it started leaking. And basically what it came down to is it would seal the tank as long as it had no leaks. Yeah, because it just didn't work. And let me tell you, it called for 1 coat followed by another coat, and I gave it an extra coat. Still didn't work. So I used all kinds of different stuff, and there it was. So anyway, let me show you what else we have here. Okay, so what we have here is 4 tanks on each side. Then you have some 4x4 columns with a chain link fence all the way around. Now what that chain link fence does, of course, it keeps the cats and the birds and what have you out of here to a certain extent, because the top is open here, so they can get in if they really wanted to. But so far, they very seldom get in here, and it's not a problem. So, yeah. So now to filter this stuff, that was a steep learning curve, and yeah. So I did a lot of research, and according to the research that I did, people came up with these 3 trash cans with the pipes in the front, and you put the water in on one side and goes into the next tank, and comes out through here. And that was a big chore, because every single day I would have to clean them, otherwise this thing here would just not be good for the fish. So then I put in another one. That helped, but it still didn't solve the problem. So I put another one right here, which I've taken out already, and that was better. I mean, it would go 2-3 days before I would have to clean them, but that still wasn't good enough. So I put in these filters here, and what it is, you have 4 compartments per tank, and they go all the way down to the floor. So they're probably about a meter down. Maybe a meter. So what I have is, in this first compartment, I have some fishing net, followed by the second compartment with some fishing net, followed by the third compartment, which has all on the bottom. It has oyster shells that are in bags, and on top you have some lava rocks. The fourth compartment is empty. Here, let me show you over here. And this is what you have. The water gets pumped in. It goes into the first compartment, goes down. Let me come over here and show you. The water gets pumped into the first compartment, goes over that little wall, goes down, and down at the bottom is two pipes coming out. The water comes out here. It goes over this little wall here. Same thing, comes out here, and then here it actually goes through there. Now, right now, this is tank number 8, and I'm just trying to get the rust out of here. So, in the way of material, there's not much in here. There's some fishing net just to trap that rust. So anyway, what happens is it goes from that compartment to this compartment to this compartment to the fourth compartment, which is whatever fine stuff is left, it'll settle to the bottom. And then it goes over the side and back into the tank. So anyway, I had someone build this one side here, and it worked pretty good. I could actually, depending on the size of the fish, I could go up to a month without cleaning the filters. But it was really pushing it. So every couple of weeks or so I would clean them, and that worked out pretty good. And then I continued to do research and found something that was a game changer. The thing about it is in fish, in the water, any little thing affects the fish. The temperature, the rain, the heat, you name it, it affects it. Well, I was pumping. If you look at the pipes coming in, well, here, let me show you in this one. You see the pipe coming down, and that goes down to the bottom, and that's where I was drawing the water from, through a network of pipes that went here and had different pickup points. And I couldn't keep up with the filtering because it was just really something. Then I did some research and I watched this video, and I can't remember his name to give him credit, but he said, if you want to keep your water clear, don't draw water from the bottom. Everything settles to the bottom. You have to pick it up from the top. So that's what I did. I connected a pipe to that pump, brought it over here, and brought it up, and put a pipe right below here. There's a pipe. Let me see if you can see it here. Yeah, there it is. There's the pipe. So this pipe comes down to this corner, goes all the way down, and connects to that pump there. So it's actually sucking in the water from near the surface, and it keeps this really clean. So that has worked out beautifully. So if you set up a pond, draw your water from the top. You know, I know that a lot of you know all this, but when I started this, I knew absolutely nothing about fish. Come to truth be told, I really don't eat much fish, but Woon does. So anyway, draw your water from the top. Yeah. So what I did is to empty all of these filters when I clean them. Let me go out here and show you. I set up this network of pipes, and what happens is this pipe that's in here comes out here, and that pipe goes all the way down. Down there are some cement rings, and you pull that pipe, you pull this pipe, and the water goes all the way down to those cement rings. Because before, you know, you emptied the water and it went all up back in here, and oh, what a mess. So, yeah. And then you have water for each one of these filters to wash them out and what have you. But I'm gonna have to make a change to that. And that's the thing about making something. Unless you are making one just like another one that is already working and built, you have to change things that don't work or will work better or what have you. So here I'm going to bring this all the way up to the C3 here, and then take this and make it down so that this, as you can see, you have a kink right here. So that opens up when you turn the water on, but it creates a problem. So I'm going to bring this up. It'll hold on to the C3 so the fence won't be moving. And then this will be pointed down. The hose will be coming out, and you don't have to worry about this kinking or anything. And I think it'll be a lot better. Plus, because it'll be hanging onto the C3 here, it'll be sturdier, and you shouldn't have any problems. Yeah. Now this I emptied this morning. I will be moving this. And as soon as I make another one of those little things like that, I will put it here. I'm going to take this pump and start pumping this water in there. Now, these 3 tanks here have a 12,000 liter per hour pump. This one here has a 7,200 liter per hour, and of course a lot less wattage, so less electricity. But if you look at that water falling from there, it's not as much as that, but it's adequate to move this water because it's being pumped from the top. So yeah. Now right now, if you look there, there's a wire going down. The pump is hanging, I don't know, maybe 6 inches below the water there, and that's what's being. Now, yesterday I put this thing in here, and it's hard to tell, but if you look at the sides here, they're a lot lighter than the center, and they're a lot lighter than if you look at this. So it's starting to clean this water here. Yeah. So now I have to work on doing this. Now the other thing is, if you look at this water, it's coming up pretty hard. So right now I'm using 2 pumps to supply air, one on each side. This one here is not on. I should turn it on to get this rust out of here. This one is on. if you look up against the wall there, you'll see the water bubbling there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see if I can take these two pumps, or these two tanks, and tie them to one pump and see how that goes. Because between the water falling and the one air pump, that should have adequate oxygen for them. But I won't try that until I bring down the number of fish on here. Oh, that's another thing. Originally I was thinking that I would put 1,000 fish in here, even though the research that I did was calling for a lot less. But my thinking was, with adequate filtering, air, and circulation, they should be okay. And yeah, they're okay. But here's the one thing that I didn't know and didn't think of, because I didn't know, is the more crowded they are, the less they grow. So if you take them and put less fish in there, they will grow very quickly. The other thing that they will do is, when they're crowded like this, is the ones that are fastest and strongest eat, and the other ones stay behind, and they stay small. So you cannot overcrowd your fish. So anyway, that is that. So later on, because I was having so many problems with this thing leaking, we decided to go ahead and build this pond. And we found this powder that you mix in with this other stuff. Looks like sugar, you know. You mix it all up and then just throw it out, and then you fill it, and it turns almost like glue. But it's safe for the fish. And what happens is, that stuff seals the pond. We did this, and we filled it up. The next day it was pretty much gone. We filled it up again, and it was about halfway, and then we filled it up again, and it stayed, and it has not leaked since we filled it up. So that stuff, if you go look at the playlist there, it'll show you this stuff. Now I don't know if it's available worldwide, but it's available here, so that's good. Anyway, that's what we did. So now the plan is that you put your new fish in here, and then the older one here, the older one here, the older one there, and then from there send them out to the pond. But of course that didn't work, because I have to keep these four ponds over here overcrowded, because these were not holding water, so I couldn't bring the number of fish down per tank. But now I think we got this thing holding water. This tank here, number 6, that's a big crack here, but ever since I accidentally discovered that the rust makes this stuff hold water, it's been holding water, and it's been at this level here for days. Yeah, and these over here are holding water perfectly. So now what I'm working on is setting this up so I can pump the water in there and clear up that water. And then of course I have to clear up this water and then divide the fish. So yeah, so there it is. Now the only disadvantages is that you know, we have all that rust in the water, which turned out to be a good thing. So once this water is clear, to keep it clear, then in this little room here is 2 tanks. The pump puts water into the first tank, and then it goes into this metal filter, which it gets processed and stored in the second tank. Let me see if you can see it from here. So it goes into that tank, gets filtered by that cylinder looking thing there, and then gets stored in this second tank, which are all of these here. So each one of the tanks has one of those. So if you need water, all that is filtered water. So you can continue to fill this thing. Once the fish are in there, you don't have to worry about rusty water. Yeah. And so far, minus the struggle we had with the filter and the leaking, it has worked out very nicely. Now, at one point, I had actually considered just covering these things up, turn it into a, okay, my battery ran out and I'm back. So at one point, I had even considered turning this into a chicken coop. I thought about maybe keeping these 2 tanks here, knocking everything else down, or keeping these 4 here and knocking this side down, putting a wall right here where that 4x4 is, all the way down this way, so that the fish would be on one side, the fish would be on the other. But good thing this thing sealed up, and yeah, it looks like we're back in business here. Now, I've been asked before, why do I keep spending all this money on a money pit? Well, it's not about the money. I don't have a lot of money, but the money I do have, I don't mind spending it, because to me, this is like money in the bank. You know, you've got to look ahead into the future, and if things get back to the point where food is not available, or it's so expensive that, you know, it's just, you just can't buy it, well, there you go. Here you'll have the fish, you'll have the water, you'll have the chickens, you have the eggs. Eventually I do want to get some rabbits, but I've got my hands full with this developing this fish and these chickens, that I would be creating more headaches with the rabbits. But eventually I do want rabbits. And we have set up this 3 raised bed garden here, and on the other side of the filters is a 4th one. So what I've been doing with that is a little bit of gardening, but most of the thing is developing the soil, because the soil here in Thailand is not very good, I would say. So the chickens are helping out with that. Everything that comes out of the chicken coop goes into the compost pile, and then it gets rotated into the gardens and what have you. Yeah, so that's how it's going. Now, I had told this lady to come and help me, and she said, okay, I'll be coming in a while. It's been almost 7 weeks and she's still not here, so I'm gonna have to look for somebody else. I need help to cut this stuff here because it goes very fast. You know, move the hay and chicken poop and clean the filters, and oh, there's just so much. But anyway, there is the fish house. Here in this wall, you have 2 chicken coops. Then you have the, as I call it, the play area where the chickens hang out all day. And then on this side you have 2 rooms. One is the feed room, and the one in the corner all the way in the back will eventually be the rabbit room. Now the plan is right here where this well is at. I want to make a room here. I want to make a room so I can bring the feed out here instead of in there, because being that you have the feed for the chickens and what have you, the little mice come out from the rice field and all that, so I want to isolate the feed here. Plus the feed truck comes up and they don't have to worry about you know, dealing with the chickens and what have you. It can just back up here and deliver it right here. And then from here you can feed the chickens, you can feed the fish, you can come out here, throw some food out there. Yeah, so there it is. Well guys, I hope I was clear in trying to explain all this stuff here as to what my thinking was on this fish house, how it's supposed to run, and as the time goes on by, it is getting closer and closer to running how I want it to run. You know, now the only thing we haven't figured out yet is here, in order to get to these fish, you're going to have to dump the water out to get to them. And here's something that happened that we were not counting on, is one day before the water was all the way around the walkway here, one day I went and cut the grass on that walkway going all the way around the pond, and of course some of that grass gets into the water. So after I finished, I went in there and I was getting the grass out, and as I would scoop in there with the net to get that grass out, I was bringing out tons of little baby fish. So it seems like this pond here is self-replenishing. So I guess you have a mama fish and a papa fish get together, and now we have a whole bunch of little baby fish. So yeah, but as far as getting those fish out of there and what to do and all that, well, that's the least of the problems, because worst case scenario, I just use it to go fishing or throw a net in there and get them out, and whatever's big enough comes out and not be thrown back in. That's the least of the problems. Yeah, but I'm very happy with the pond, because it seems like things are working out for the pond. I decided the water was turning green a lot, so I decided to flood this thing over that step to give it more water. And of course I added that pump there, which is a 12,000 liter per hour pump, and it's right there on the edge, so it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. But that is adding a little bit of movement to the water, and you know, all that stuff. So it helps. But since I decided to flood this thing all the way to the edge, the water has been better, the fish are better. I haven't had any problems. It's been a couple of months, and it's doing very good. Now, since it's been raining, the water's been holding. So hopefully if that water sits there long enough, it'll seal that dirt there, and it won't leak. Because the first time that this is before that grass was here, but the first time that I filled it up all the way to the top, the driveway on the other side down there was just all wet from the saturation going through the dirt and stuff. So, and of course everything was new, hadn't settled, and yeah, so time will tell, and hopefully it'll continue to stay good, and it'll work out in the end. Yeah. And of course, you know, I put some trees all in through here. The sun is on this side over here, so I put all these trees here because eventually they will grow bigger than this, and when the sun comes down and hits these trees, it'll put that shade over the roof, and it'll keep things cooler all the way around, inside, chicken coop, everything. Now, what I have been, this has nothing to do with the fish, but what I've been doing is I've been opening this door for the chickens in the morning, whether it's raining or not. I need for them to learn and know that when they're getting hit with rain, they need to find some cover, and they've already learned that, so that's good. They feel the rain and they all run and they hang out right there. So what I would like to do is attach some kind of roof coming out this way, just short of this tree here, short of that tree, and on this side of that tree. So a short section here, a small section, so that it provides a little bit of extra room for the chickens, and at the same time maybe keep the rain out of that area here or something. I don't know. Not that it matters, because it's got a drain at the end of the building over there. So okay, so there it is. You know, if you have any questions, please send a comment. I will answer them as quickly as I can. I'm really busy, but I always take the time to answer if you take the time to write it. So if you ask, I will answer. All right, guys, thanks a lot, and hope I helped you in some way. And yeah, if you decide to do anything like this, or on a larger scale, smaller scale, send me a comment and I will give you my 2 cents, and hopefully I'll save you thousands. All right, see you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching.
ขอบคุณเจ้า
See you next time.
แล้วปะกันแฮมไมนะเจ้า
See you.
บ๊ายบาย